Cowles, let me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc, where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
Why do I want to do that to myself? And it kind of just takes me back to servant leadership. It's so cliche, and sometimes cliches, are for a reason. But servant leadership, it's really why we're in the Parks and Rec profession. And I really think that's why, or that's how, all government employees should really lead with that example is, I'm doing this not for, some people want to be a leader for the power grip or whatever. It's like, I'm here to lead because I want to serve you. And, I want to provide you the best. And I think when you have good leadership at any level, at any organization, everybody else floats.
All right, we are live again. This is Craig LeBlanc with the Daily Parks and Rec Show. Now DPRS Media Network, and we have a lot of great shows that we've been kind of giving birth to this year. I think we're going to launch 4 new shows this year. One of the latest ones that we launched in January was On the Front Line with John Prue. That's every Tuesday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. We also have a Smart Parks Forward show, which is all about the Internet of Things and connecting all the hardware of a city, making them kind of smart cities you can control from your cell phone. So that's a really cool show. And then yesterday we launched our neurodivergent show. It's called hold on, let me not mess the name up because we mispronounced it. It's Safe Spaces. This is the logo for it. Safe Spaces with Thomas White. He's part of Henry County, Georgia. So really good team there. And then of course we have our regular show right following this one, Aaron Locks with U Sports Mastery is one of our oldest shows. And then Friday, this coming, tomorrow. Yeah, I think tomorrow we launch the Aquatics Life. Look at this logo we just made. That's pretty cool. Yeah. That's going to be a weekly show all about aquatics. And we know how aquatics people can just be like, you think Parks and Rec people love what they do. The aquatics people, they really get into aquatics. So we have a whole show dedicated just to them. But anyway, Derrick, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Glad it's getting close to Friday, one day away. But just hanging in there, getting busy per usual. It's kind of the year-round mantra for Parks and Rec professionals.
I bet. And usually y'all never get a weekend off.
Yeah, especially as summer gets closer, the event seasons ramp up. Oh, yeah. All
right. Well, before we get too far in, we're going to play a couple of promos. Of course, we're going to promote Outdoor Link. They're one of our primary sponsors and have been with us since the beginning. And they actually help us co-create that technology show every other Monday. So if it just like you had these smart homes where you can, with your cell phone, turn on the AC and the garage door and lights on. So imagine you do that with your whole city and have all your baseball field lights, splash pads, bathroom door locks, all interconnected to where you can control everything from a smart device or desktop or something like that. So Dave and his team do a great job, and they're one of the fastest growing, I think, vendors in Parks and Rec community, even though they've been doing this for quite a while. And then after that, we made a little promo for the Illinois Parks and Rec Association. We attended that, we had a blast there. It was freezing. And we're getting ready to hit the road to go to California next. So we'll go ahead and play those 2 little promos, and we'll come back and start our conversation with Derrick.
In today's parks and recreation industry, communication, safety, and efficiency go hand in hand. That's where Outdoor Link comes in, delivering smart technology that empowers city departments and community planners to do more, smarter. Outdoor Link's platform connects and automates everything that keeps your parks running smoothly. From lighting and locks to signage, water features, Wi-Fi, and digital advertising. Control and schedule park lights for safety and energy savings. Remotely manage facility access. Update digital displays in real time. Coordinate fountains and splash pads. Provide public connectivity. And even run community or sponsorship campaigns on digital screens, all from one simple, unified platform, giving you real-time control, data, and cost efficiency. For parks and recreation agencies, that means safer spaces, smarter resource use, faster responses, and stronger community engagement. And behind every great park story is great infrastructure. That's why Outdoor Link proudly supports DPRS Media Company, helping the daily Parks and Rec show amplify the voices of professionals shaping our communities every day. Outdoor Link, smart, connected solutions for parks, recreation, and beyond.
This year, we didn't just attend an event. We became part of something bigger. IPRA 2026 brought together leaders, innovators, and community builders, all united by one mission: to strengthen parks, recreation, and the people they serve. For DPRS Media Network, it was an honor to join IPRA 2026 and take part in meaningful, real-time conversations, capturing stories and amplifying voices that matter. To IPRA, thank you for creating a space where collaboration thrives and the future of parks and recreation is shaped together. We extend our deepest gratitude to Amelia and all our partners who made these live interviews possible. IPRA 2026 wasn't just an event, it was a reminder that when communities connect and stories are shared, impact follows. From all of us at DPRS Media Network, thank you, IPRA. Thank you, partners and sponsors. We're honored to stand with you and excited for what's next.
All right. So, Derrick, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into this crazy industry of parks and recreation and still continue to dedicate your life to this industry?
Yeah, absolutely. Somewhat of, I guess, unique background like many of your guests. But I didn't go the traditional route, as in knowing what Parks and Rec was while growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So I came from a small town in West Virginia, had just a nonprofit soccer league that every child mandatory joined, when they turned 6 years old, up through middle school and into high school. And then up to that point, after graduating from Berkeley Springs, West Virginia High School, went to Shepherd University, small D2 school in the Eastern Panhandle of West Virginia. With a focus, my major was health and exercise science. So I know I love to be active, loved sports and athletics. Kind of found a major that tied some of those things together that, I cared about. So shortly after graduation, moved to Winchester, Virginia, which is only about 45 minutes from, where I currently live in Berkeley Springs. Started my first big boy job as a personal trainer and fitness specialist for a wellness center on a large hospital campus in Winchester. Worked that for about a couple years, and I was ready for something new. And then lo and behold, a colleague of mine sent a job posting for the city of Winchester, the athletic specialist in the Parks and Rec department. So I read the description. I was like, this sounds like the things I like to do. Didn't know much about what Parks and Rec was, let alone local government itself. So I applied, got the job, and then the rest is history. That was 6 years ago now, that led me through my career into where I am now. So first full-time job, Parks and Rec. I've really found my passion for it, and as well as local government.
So how long have you been in Parks and Rec total from then till now?
So yeah, my first full-time job was February 2019, the year right before COVID, of course.
Oh, nice.
So got about a year or so of normal work in the pre-COVID, and then spent 2 years for the city of Winchester. And then for the last almost 5 years has now been for the town of Vienna, which is about an hour from Winchester and about 12 miles from DC. So up in the Northern Virginia DMV metro. So about almost going on 6 years total now.
And what was your first job in Parks and Rec?
Yeah. So that first job was the athletics specialist. So my role there is absolutely a small department. The athletics was a team of 2. Which was great. In a smaller department, you wear a lot of hats, get to learn a lot of things. You also have to do a lot. So I got to learn a lot there. So my role consisted of coordinating our youth and adult sports leagues, volleyball, basketball, soccer, you name it. Also coordinating with our park partners and with the facility use. So I also managed all of the athletic facilities, indoor and outdoor, for the city. We had about 5 baseball, softball fields, 6 soccer fields, a BMX track, a disc golf course. So part of that was managing that as well. So got a lot of good experience in that role.
Hmm. Now, what was it was a kind of a shocker or something that you saw that, oh my gosh, I need to shore up on these skills? Was it people skills, soft skills, or what are some things you had to learn in those early years?
That's a great question. So I think moving into any full-time role as a young, eager, fresh out of college student or your first full-time job, what I learned quickly is you got to slow down. So
Yeah.
I've always been, eager, ready to go. I feel like I'm a natural problem solver, but
Hmm.
sometimes if you try to jump in and solve it too quickly, you'll create a few more problems along the way. So,
Yeah.
so I learned quickly is slow down, and not every answer has to be a yes. It's okay to tell people no. In this Parks and Rec field, we hate to tell people no. That's one of the things you have to do sometimes. So those two things you learn as you evolve through your roles, just professional maturity as you're growing up and understanding how much capacity you're able to do as yourself. You can't say yes to all the projects and things as you move along. So definitely the first year of that before COVID hit for the city of Winchester, it was really just learning all the skills. What is Parks and Rec about? Because like I mentioned, up to that point, never really heard of Parks and Rec, wasn't too familiar with even local government. So that really just opened my mind to what a great resource and what a great thing Parks and Rec departments are all
Mm.
across the country, the impact they have on the communities that they serve. So that was something that I had no idea about, and it was great to learn that in that role.
And so then now, did you always stay in that role, or have you kind of evolved or moved on to something else?
Yeah. Yeah. So my first 2 years for the city, I was with the athletics specialist there for the city of Winchester. Like I mentioned, small department. Another issue with small departments is not a lot of room for professional growth. Once you've kind of
Mm.
so after 2 years, I was ready for the next step up. At that same time, I met my then girlfriend, now wife,
Mm.
who was living in the Northern Virginia area, which is where I ended up. So I was really looking for a two-part motivation. Number one, get a new job with some more responsibility, and then obviously be closer to her. So I applied for a few different jurisdictions in the Northern Virginia area, Fairfax County, Town of Herndon, Town of Vienna, and then landed in my current role with the Town of Vienna as the Recreation Program Coordinator for youth and camps.
Mm.
So was able to definitely take a little bit of the skills and my duties in my previous job and apply it here. But the way that operations are run, specifically in the DMV or Northern Virginia area, was definitely took some adjusting. It wasn't what I was used to, uh, which is funny. So the Town of Vienna is also a small-ish department comparatively. Back in Winchester, I was used to the one of rallying and putting together the teams and running the
Mhm.
leagues and finding the coaches and making the program plans. I was front facing on site with these programs. Where in my current role and how we do it here is we rely a lot on contractors. So we partner with contractors to come in and teach basketball classes, sports classes, dance, art, you name it. Anything that they're able to teach and provide to the community, that's what we'll do. In addition to some in-house where our own Town of Vienna staff lead it as well. So that was a bit of a change. Wasn't used to that as much, but you had to learn contract management. How do you ensure that the contractors you're bringing on are providing that same level of service that you would want?
Mm.
So for our seasonal classes and our camps, we rely a lot on those. Has its pros and its cons, but generally it's been good. So that's where in 2021 I came here to the Town of Vienna. I've been in this role. Got recently promoted just about a year ago. We had some organization restructure, so expanded my role a bit. So I am in charge of all the programs and camps now for the Town of Vienna.
Mm. Now, explain to somebody what the day-to-day looks like as far as running those camps.
Yeah, absolutely. So funny you ask. Just this past Monday, a few days ago, we had our summer camp registration day, or for Town of Vienna residents. So here's how I would describe it. It's either summer camp season and you're in the thick of it, putting out the fires. It's either summer camp season or you're getting ready for summer camp season.
Yeah.
So if you backtrack, all of our information has to be in our system early December. So October, November, I'm heckling all of the contractors to give me their summer information, summer dates. We just ended the camps back in August. So collecting that information to get it into the system so we can get it into the brochure to post online. And then first couple weeks of March, we get our registration. And then third week of June, we kick it off. So a normal day in the hot seat of a camp coordinator is 2 weeks before. You're making sure minimum numbers are hit. You're coordinating with your contractors to get them the rosters, making sure you have all their information that they're ready to go. Day of, at any given time, I could have 10 to 12 different camps running in just one community center. So I got to be at a lot of places at a lot of times, delivering materials, checking in with contractors, checking in with some of our in-house staff, because we do run a couple of in-house camps as well. Ensuring, rosters, parents, handling, parent concerns or complaints. Same thing with contractors, making sure the facility's up to date, and make sure no changes need to be made. If so, coordinating with the correct people to do so. So I actually love the high intensity and high pressure and chaotic summer camp life. Just go, go, go. So kind of back what I said earlier is, sometimes I don't like to slow down as much. I like to put the pedal to the metal. So
right.
Summer camp gives me a good opportunity to do so. And then in those off season, get to slow it down a bit. So it's just chaos. You ask any camp coordinator, they're going to say it's chaos, controlled chaos.
Controlled chaos.
Yeah, controlled chaos. But you learn to love it.
Yeah. What are some of the vendors that y'all use?
So I'm happy to say that a lot of the people we work with are, a lot of just a sole LLC and their staffs, like a lot of small business owners around. Of course, we do have some franchised vendors that will come in, and they do a great job as well. I don't want to put too many of them on blast and, do any free advertising per se, or get in trouble. But I will say generally, all the contractors that we work with, it's a pretty competitive space in Northern Virginia. There's just in Northern Virginia, there's anywhere from, 15 to maybe 20 individual jurisdictions, within a stretch of not too far that are these contractors, sports contractors are competing, for their business. So, and word spreads. So if you're a contractor that doesn't provide that high quality of service, you're gone. We're moving on to the next. So that's kind of shown that competition really raised the amount of just customer service, overall satisfaction, and so it's been good. So I will say that all the contractors that we work with, and I've worked with the last few years, have done really well. And so I'm happy that they keep returning. They're built great relationships with them, and they're flexible. So it's been great, different but great.
Yeah. Now, so. Are you participating in any of the other parts of the city as far as like special events, or they involve you in that, or they kind of leave you?
Yeah, definitely. So like I mentioned, Town of Vienna, pretty small compared to some of the other jurisdictions around here. So for example, we're based in the community center that houses all the Parks and Rec employees. So for the recreation side of things, we have about 15 full-time staff in this building, but that's programs, special events, admin, custodial operations. So about 15 rec, and then about 15 parks. So our parks crew, they have their own, park space that they'll go to in their shop. So pretty small, but special events, it's all intertwined. Program, admin, operations. We're all helping out on the special events as well. And something that the Town of Vienna puts a lot of pride in are our special events that we do. So huge concert series throughout the summer, 4 huge block parties, third Friday of every month, June, July, August, September. And every year they're growing and growing. What started out, maybe we get 1,000, 2,000 people, we're getting 6,000, 7,000 people at these block parties.
Wow.
That we host. And it's chaos, again, controlled chaos, but it's so great. Our 4th of July, just like other jurisdictions throughout, growing each year, and especially this year, the Vienna 250. It was about impossible to find a 4th of July fireworks, pyrotech to shoot off. So we'll be on the 2nd. But you got to think, we're competing with DC, Fairfax County. There's a lot of big competition around here as well. And then probably my favorite event that we do is the Halloween parade. So the Wednesday before Halloween, we shut down the main strip that runs through our town, and we have over 100 vendors or 100 entries that will come in. They go all out on their floats. Every year's themed differently, and that tradition's been around since the 60s, and it's just been growing, and it's great. So the rush hour traffic heading home, not so much for them, but they've come to adapt. So programs, special events, it's all intertwined, and really everyone wears a lot of hats here
Yeah.
to make everything successful that we try to do.
Now, your community operates pretty much in the DC metro area, right? How far are y'all from
Yeah,
DC?
so we're about 12 miles or so from DC.
Mhm.
And then the town of Vienna itself is a small 4 square mile town.
Oh, wow.
So we're located within the larger Fairfax County. So Fairfax County has about 1 million residents.
Mhm.
And then the town of Vienna itself has about 25,000 residents.
Mm.
But the stretch of people that would use our program services and attend our special events, probably in the range of 50 to 60,000 per se.
Yeah.
Like just down the road, about 5 miles, we have the city of Fairfax, which Katie McCammon works for the city of Fairfax. She's great in the NRPA, VRPS space. So there's a lot of localities that are nearby that kind of put on similar things. But yeah, there's a certain general reach of about 60 or 70,000 people.
Yeah. Now, do y'all do anything special for the local citizens? Like maybe give a little discount, or what do y'all do? Because you've got a lot of people that really don't live in the city, but still kind of use y'all's facilities and programming.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's especially with summer camp season. It's very, it's tough when a resident family, doesn't get to go into one of our camps. So what we'll do is not only summer camps, but any of our seasonal programs, when it's time for registration, they get a 1 week exclusive resident registration window, and non-residents pay 25% more, and that's
Mm.
capped at $50. So,
Yeah.
so a bit of a discount for town residents and exclusive registration, which is important, especially for summer camps, because it just opened on Monday, and a good bit of our summer camps are already full. So
Mm.
it's a challenge because we're really limited in the space we have. I wish I
Yeah.
could duplicate the community center we have now, and then I'll be able to serve more people. But obviously, you know how that
Yeah.
goes. So yeah, there's a bit of a perk there, and we really put the town of Vienna residents first because at the end of the day, that's who we're serving.
Yeah. So let's say you've got a little fifth grade child and you want to enroll them in summer camp. What are the kind of activities? How long does it last? What does that look like?
Yeah, so we have a combination of half day and full day camps. So for the summer, we have 9 total weeks of summer camp. We have 160 individual offerings that a child could register for. And these camps, for the most part, are full day, 9 to 3:30. Before and after care is eligible for all those camps. We have anything from, the all sports camps, general all sports camps, PE sports games, to baseball, lacrosse, rugby, ultimate frisbee. We have dance, like, K-pop, super popular. So the dance, the arts, and then you go into a STEM. So STEM has been definitely huge over the last few years. Robotics and Legos, creating your own movies, just coding, all the things you can imagine. So those are kind of our specialty camps that we offer, wide range of those. And then our in-house camp. So I mentioned we do 2 in-house camps. One is playground camp, which is your
Mm.
traditional day camp, arts and crafts, sports, play outside. And that's for, that 6 to 11-year-old range. And then we have a teen excursion camp for the 12 to 15-year-olds. Every
Mm.
single day they're going on a different field trip. So those are our 2 in-house offerings. Everything else is done through contractors. So there's really something for every kid, whatever interest they have. And if they want to try something new, we got it here.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, you recently, are you currently pursuing your master's, or you already graduated, or where are we at with
You
that?
look right there. I already got it
Oh,
hanging
there
up
we
on the
go.
wall. Now, so
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, so I recently graduated with my master's in public administration. I would not have done that had I not gotten this job, a few
Yeah.
years ago. When I got to the town of Vienna, my passion for Parks and Rec exploded, but also did local government.
Yeah.
So local government management I've really been laser focused on that, kind of just because the impact that it can make, and it's a great job. It's a tough job. But so I finished that degree, told myself I would never go back to school after I finished my bachelor's. And then here I am now graduating that.
Yeah.
So took a few years because I was working full time, a couple classes a week in the evenings
Yeah.
for those 3 years, but happy to have that done.
Yeah. What'd you learn?
Yeah, what did I learn? Yeah, so some of the biggest things that I would say from day one of that program to the completion of the program was definitely just so the degree itself was policy and government. So learning how different governments, nonprofits, how essentially everyone's day-to-day life is so connected via some
Mm.
sort of government relationship, and how important it is to have effective government leaders, not only at the town level, but at the Parks and Rec department level or the Public Works department level, and then down to the coordinator level. So just the relationships, the intricacies of how government relationships work, intertwined. Some of my favorite classes, the budgeting, which you never really think about budgeting, especially like in a roles that I've had where it's like entry level. You think, oh yeah, there's endless money. How's the budget work? So understanding the budget process, project management was another great class that I was glad I took, and then collaborative public management. Just how do you collaborate effectively, to reach common goals? If it's
Mm.
with the Town of Vienna's Parks and Rec department, or maybe it's between the Town of Vienna and Fairfax County, to create some sort of project to serve, those residents within. So everything's really connected. So
Mm. Yeah. Now, that does kind of qualify you if you want to move up and maybe become a director or something one day. That kind of does help you kind of stand out. Was that one of the reasons you pursued it, because you kind of foresee yourself in the future?
that was probably the primary reason why I pursued it. So
Mhm.
once I got here to the Town of Vienna, I quickly learned that I wanted to be a director of a jurisdiction.
Mhm.
And the reason why is 'cause I looked up to so many phenomenal leaders
Mhm.
around, where I live. There's so many jurisdictions, so many government agencies, and the people that are leading these departments, I mean, they're fantastic. And
Mhm.
I think, how do I get to that point? Well, it's really competitive here. And if you don't
Mhm.
have 20 years of experience, you better have your NPA.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get 20 years experience in a couple of years. So I thought, let me go ahead and get the NPA. And I loved every second of that program. And I
Yeah.
highly recommend it to, especially, young professionals out there, or middle or even seasoned professionals. When you're going to class and you're learning about things that you can directly tie into what you're doing at work,
Yeah.
or like what your locality is doing, it just the passion for it, and you're so much more engaged. So I thought, let me get this degree, let me get some more experience, and so I can get to the point of, my next professional goal is to be a director of a Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because it seems like most of the time when we pursue our bachelor's degree, we really don't know what we're going to do with it or how it's going to apply. But it seems like by the time you go for your master's, you know exactly what you want to do and how that's going to help you.
I think, yeah, that's what I hear. You hear that all the time, more so for the ones that kind of the untraditional route, where you
Right.
finish your bachelor's and then go back for your master's instead of just rolling right into it. Neither of my parents went to college. They just mostly have this high school. They told me I was going to go to college. They wanted me, to do better than they did, or to get the degree. Didn't know what I wanted to do. Changed my degree like 3 or 4 times. Uh, my first job, maybe, the Parks and Rec in City of Winchester, maybe I needed that degree for it. It's into the debate. But when you go back for your master's, it's normally because it means something to you and you're
Yeah.
more passionate about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, when we get back from our break, I want to talk about your involvement in YPN and Virginia's version of that you helped launch, and then also the Leadership Development Network. But I want to play a quick promo. Now, this is actually a thank you for getting us past the 400th episode. So thank you, Derrick, and all the other Parks and Rec professionals have come on the show. We're actually already up to our 441st one. So we'll be crossing the 500 episode threshold after only about 13 months of putting this together for the
That's
Parks
an
and Rec
accomplishment.
community.
You should be proud of that.
Yeah, it's a lot and I think I had about 800 phone calls on top of that. So we've interviewed so many Parks and Rec professionals. It's just been it's been great just covering their story and highlighting the industry. So we made this promotion or a big thank you to everyone that's helped us to do this. And then after that, we're going to promote the Athletes Commute, which is a show that we produce with Her Sports. So all those female athletes that look up to these professional athletes. Jordan Ziff was a former soccer player that played at the highest level for the country of Brazil, and then came back home to California. And now she has this show where she picks up professional female athletes and brings them to practice or the game, and gets to go kind of behind the scenes and talk to them about how they're living their life and how they prepare for, being a professional athlete. So it's a really cool show. So Jovi, why don't you go ahead and play those two, and we'll come back and finish up our conversation with Derrick.
It didn't start with a studio or a big budget or a perfect plan. It started with belief that stories matter, belief that voices deserve to be heard, belief that community is powerful. What began as a single conversation has grown into something far bigger than us. Today we pause, we reflect, and we say thank you. To our guests, thank you for showing up, for being honest, for trusting us with your stories and letting the world hear them. To our partners and sponsors, thank you for standing with us when the vision was still taking shape. Your belief gave this network its foundation. And to our audience, the ones who listened, who watched, who shared, who believed. You didn't just support DPRS Media Network, you built it. This past year changed everything. We grew our shows, we raised our standards, we reached new communities, and we told stories that needed to be told. From parks and recreation to sports, youth, technology, and culture. We learned something important. Growth isn't about numbers, it's about impact. As we grow, our mission becomes clear. Our mission is to create media that matters, media that educates, media that inspires, media that connects people through honest, human storytelling. To spotlight the people, the programs, and the ideas shaping parks, recreation, sports, and the future of our shared spaces. And our vision is bold. We envision a media network that doesn't just document the world, but helps shape it, where local voices spark global change, where communities see themselves reflected, and where media is a force for good. The future ahead is bigger than any single episode. More voices, more stories, more collaboration. Live events, original films, deeper conversations, and a growing community united by purpose. From episode 1 to episode 400, thank you for believing when it was hard. Thank you for staying when it was uncertain. And thank you for walking this journey with us. This is DPRS Media Network, built by community, driven by purpose, powered by stories. And we're just getting started.
Before the game, before the lights, before the pressure, there's a moment most people never see. Welcome to The Athletes Commute, a podcast distributed by DPRS Media Network, co-produced by Her Sports, and hosted by Jordan Ziff. Each episode, Jordan gets behind the wheel, driving athletes to practice, to training, to game day, while getting to know who they really are beyond the jersey. The mindset, the grind, the sacrifices, the moments no one talks about. No scripts, no filters, just real conversations in real motion. Because every athlete has a journey, and every journey deserves to be heard. This is The Athletes Commute. Buckle up.
All right. So I want to talk about this amazing network that is Parks and Rec, that I think if you're not in Parks and Rec, you have no idea this is going on. But every single state in America has a very strong association of all the directors and all the whole Parks and Rec community within that state. And they meet once a year, and they have this like 3 or 4 day thing going on. And then NRPA does the whole thing, but on a national level. And so what was it like the first time you attended any of those, or what was your journey along that?
Yeah, definitely. And before we jump into that, I want to say those 2 videos got me all fired up. So
Oh, yes. Well,
great job
thank
on
you.
this. I'm excited for the future of this. So yes, I'm sure everyone says that their state network is the best, but I can say unbiased, Virginia has VRPS, the best, state
Uh,
agency. Of course. No,
Fantastic.
so VRPS is our, of course, our state party there. So VRPS is tremendous. Of course, we do the annual conference once a year, but VRPS has so many great resource and specialty groups that work throughout on a continual basis throughout the year. So my first, I guess, experience with VRPS was I got recruited at the first conference to serve as a member of the Northern Service Area Board. So Virginia is broken up into 5 different service areas, primarily focused to serve the people in that service area. So the Northern Service Area, essentially all of Northern Virginia, just outside the DC metro. So that was my first year. So 3 years ago, served on that board to assist with the initiatives, programs, workshops, things along the way that we planned throughout the year leading up to the conference. So each year I've stayed on the board, and happy to say I'm serving this year as the chair. So I'm really looking forward to this year. Going to focus a lot on member engagement because there are so many professionals in Northern Virginia, and I'm really trying to bridge the gap and to get them to these virtual meetings and get them to these in-person workshops that we have throughout the year. So to not only learn the material that's happening, but just making connections with their fellow colleagues. So that's been one of the great things. I know you mentioned earlier the Young Professional Network. So Katie McCammon for the city of Fairfax took the NRPA's model, and she's one of the founding members. She is the without her, it would not happen.
Right.
So she recruited some people to help her. I was one of those. But it was really her main initiative is in getting that at the Virginia level. So the VYPN has been established for a few years now as well, and it's really been a space for those young professionals to learn. And one of the greatest things that came out of that was a mentorship program similar to the NRPA styles, connecting these upper level, director and upper managers with these entry level and mid employees, and learning from each other. It's not always the new employee learning from the seasoned. It could be the other way around as well. So happy to say that the VYPN is still rolling strong. So a supporting member of that on the board. So that's going strong as well. Then we have the resource groups. So in addition to the VYPN, we have aquatics and special events and arts and culture. And so VRPS itself is really focusing on how do you benefit the members of VRPS, and how do we get these programs and initiatives to the people on site all around the state to serve them, and so they can serve their communities even better. So VRPS has been tremendous in my professional growth. They've awarded me a scholarship for school, 1 year as well. So anything I can do to get more involved with VRPS, I take advantage.
Now, what are some of so let's say you're a young professional and you're kind of new to all of it. What do you recommend that you do on your first year to try to get the most out of the state organization, the national organization, and even the YPN stuff that you'll offer?
Definitely. 'Cause, this was really me 2 years ago. It was all new to me, and how do I get involved and learn more? So first thing is connect with colleagues that are around you that may already be involved. Don't be afraid to ask questions, research. If, like for Virginia, for example, I would check out, okay, who was maybe on the board of the NSA, or are there any events going by that I can learn more, be engaged. I sent an email blast yesterday out to about 400 people that live in the Northern Service Area listed on their VRPS page. And I said, come to the first virtual meeting, bring a friend. And the theme of the meeting is going to be, why are you here? Like, why should you be here?
Yeah.
So like, why VRPS and why the NSA? So really don't be scared to ask questions and get involved, just to learn more information. And if there's something that you're passionate about, you can make it a reality. And because there's probably people with your same passions that if you formed a club or a committee or an association, they'd probably join along as well. So volunteer to be on boards and commissions at the state level. For example, next year, the 2027 annual conference is going to be in the northern area. So someone reached out and said, Derrick, would you like to be involved in the conference committee? So, every time there's a conference, there are tons of different committees, and those people are in charge of making sure the conference runs smoothly.
Mhm.
So, I accepted, of course, for the special events and activities conference committee. So we're going to form a team of 6 people, and we're going to make sure that all the activities and programs happening during the stay of the conference are the best of the best. So
Yeah.
there's tons of ways to get involved and get engaged that are absolutely free, and so many you can just do from your office.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easy depending where you live and how the jurisdiction's set up, that you can't drive 2 hours in a work day to be in an in-person meeting. So see how you can get involved virtually. It's tons of great stuff out there, and that's at the
Yeah.
state level.
Yeah.
For the national level, me personally, I'm just now dipping my toes into NRPA and really taking full advantage of what it has to offer. I was so tied up with my degree, I didn't want to take on too much. But over the last 3 or 4 months or so, I've been attending every LDN meeting, the Leadership Development Network meeting,
Mhm.
the Young Professional Network at the national level. And I wouldn't have done that if it weren't for my other colleagues that are sharing, talking about it. I see them
Mhm.
on LinkedIn posting about it. It's like, okay, well, if they're doing it, I want to do it too.
Right.
uh, didn't regret it at all. So, I mean, learning something new every day, meeting phenomenal people throughout the entire country. So there's limited resources if you don't going to be scared to, go take full advantage.
Right. Yeah. And I kind of look at it as 3 different buckets that you're kind of increasing your skill set. You've got where you go pursue a degree at a college and you leave with that degree, and it kind of, whatever, you hang it on your wall, somewhat qualifies you. I'd say that's bucket number 1, and kind of have to pay for that. It takes a lot of time. The second one I would imagine is probably the best is where it's just on the job training, where you're just learning how to do what you do. But that third one, I think a lot of people may not take advantage of, and the associations just offer so many skills and network and people, and all you got to do is volunteer for it. And maybe there's a little cost here and there to be an NRPA member or Virginia State member or something like that. But what would you say to encourage people to take advantage of that third part to really advance your knowledge about the industry?
No, absolutely. There are so many great free resources. Number one, typically at a jurisdiction level, like for example, the Town of Vienna,
Mhm.
there are online training resources that are free for employees that have tons of various certifications, watch some videos, do some online training, and you just add those to your collection of knowledge. So, I mean, those are absolutely free. There's so many free things for that you can take advantage of. For another example, this is not so much Parks and Rec, but kind of government as a whole. But anytime there is a town council work session or a town council meeting, I'm tuned in and I'm listening.
Mhm.
Parks and Rec, we take up a lot of the discussion. So it's great to understand and have an understanding of what your department is doing and then how it ties in to your jurisdiction's goals. And because everything's connected, if we're doing something, we got public works involved, we got police involved for big special events, economic development, all of the departments are intertwined, and that is an absolutely free resource at your disposal every week or
Mhm.
every other week. Your elected leaders of your jurisdiction are meeting, or if it's like a Parks and Rec board and
Mhm.
advisory board, tuning into those. Also, the Craig LeBlanc show. Hello,
Yeah.
you got endless, the most brilliant minds in the public and private sector Parks and Rec, you know, right here on the show
Yeah.
that you just listen and take it in. Just be a sponge. That's really what you want to focus on is if you're having problems finding some information, like ask a friend because there's so much out there for you to get.
Yeah. And this really is a sharing industry. I love how this industry is so collaborative. A lot of industries that you might find yourself in kind of try to keep stuff to themselves and they don't really share a lot. But this industry is just wide open. And as you can find a director on the other side of the country, and they're more than happy to share with you all the landmines they stepped on for their 4th of July celebration or the successes they had. And you can really start your day one can be their roadmap of 5 or 6 years running whatever program that you're interested in.
Yeah, that's 100% accurate. And in the past, I've called someone like a neighboring jurisdiction. I was like, I saw that event online. I want to steal everything about it. Tell me everything. And they're like, oh yeah, that's great. Let me tell you. So yeah, we share and, we steal information from each other, and it kind of like, it's the common, it's just the culture of Parks and Rec. You nailed
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it really is a great culture. Now you had mentioned something about how you love customer service. Where does that come from? Did you kind of discover that on the job, or, how does that play out in
I
your
think I
career?
discovered that at my first job at 16 years old at Dairy Queen. So I've always just been, even before that, I'm a total extrovert,
Mhm.
people pleaser, karaoke singer. I'm not scared to, meet people and roll up discussions. So getting into the work setting, that's customer service, building relationships, connecting with, patrons or customers. It's just something I've been passionate about and I love to do. And I've carried that with through the entire way. And of course, customer service isn't always, giving them the ice cream cone or helping them out at the front desk. Customer service on the back end is providing the good programs as well. Being a good steward for taxpayer money. Uh, you know, Reaching out and building connections with nonprofit groups. So just being a good, customer service means so many things. And it's something I'm really passionate about at all the levels, whether I'm out
Mhm.
the front desk helping out, answering a phone call, or I'm helping out on, a baseball field because there's something going on, and I got to rake the lines and draw the lines real quick before the park partners, go out to play. So I think Parks and Rec and customer service just goes hand in hand,
Yeah.
and I think that's because Parks and Rec just naturally, people with those personality traits naturally gravitate towards Parks and Rec. You walk into any community center or Parks and Rec organization, you're most likely find the most bubbly, friendly people working in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Now let's dig a little into your why. Like, why do you continue to? It looks like you foresee yourself working in Parks and Rec for quite a while. And so, what's kind of the driver behind that keeps you coming back for more?
That's a great question. I've asked myself that a few times. Like, why do I want to be a director? Like, why eventually one day do I see myself being a town manager? Like, those are incredibly stressful and demanding jobs. It's like, why do I want to do that to myself? And it kind of just takes me back to like servant leadership. It's
Mm,
such it's so cliche, and sometimes cliches, are for a reason. But servant leadership, it's really why we're in the Parks and Rec profession, and I really think that's why, or that's how, all government employees should really lead with that example. Is
mhm,
I'm doing this not for, some people want to be a leader for the power grip or whatever. It's like, I'm here to lead because I want to serve you,
mhm.
and I want to provide you the best. And I think when you have good leadership at any level, at any organization, everybody else floats.
Yeah.
It's just, leading by example. And I think when I first got to Northern Virginia and I was more involved with VRPS and I was meeting some of these directors around, I mean, they got it. They have it all. They're personable, they're smart, they're, not scared to do the dirty work. And I think I just picture myself in that role. And I think, okay, well, how am I going to get to that point?
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think a lot of times we look at why we're doing something that's challenging, and it's almost like, because like you said, it's not an easy job. You work a lot of weekends, a lot of nights. You deal with a lot of the drama that the city brings to your doorstep. But it's oftentimes I think it's who it makes of you in the process that you have to become the leader that can overcome all these obstacles that are constantly, like you said, it's controlled chaos, and you're just becoming a better and better leader on the journey. And I think Parks and Rec just produces exceptional leaders, and then they get to see all their leadership play out in their community and just build their community and see that real time. And you don't have to wait till you're like 70 years old and retired and like, what? How am I going to make a difference now? You can
Mhm.
start making a difference like when you're 20.
No, that's exactly right. And I think, as you rise up, as a leadership and you get into a more executive role, almost one of the most important qualities you can have is relationship building.
Mhm.
And I think you see it a lot, anecdotally in this area specifically. Anytime there's a promotion internally for like a city manager or a town manager, if it's internal, 9 times out of 10, that's going to be the Parks and Rec director,
Mm.
because the relationship building, the customer service, those are the traits that are just ingrained in daily Parks and Rec life that we just experience over and over, and it just refines us. And I think relationship building is so important, and it's a quality that it just makes you have. So I think that's, it's good.
Yeah. All right. So help me pitch the industry to some college kids. We have a lot of college kids that listen to our Thursday show. It's for YPN, 5 p.m. every Thursday, Eastern time. But if you're sitting in front of a group of undecided college kids that really don't know what direction they want to go, what kind of testimony would you give to encourage them to maybe consider Parks and Rec as a career path?
First thing I would say it is, number one, it is like the TV show. It's awesome. It's hilarious. You don't know what you're going to experience day to day. But no, on a serious note, Parks and Rec can provide so much for you. You can gain so much valuable experience and transferable skills that you can take anywhere. But after your first 6 months on the job, you're not going to want to leave, because you're coming to work with some of the best people. You're going to have some of the most fun jobs. You're not going to be sitting behind a desk all day. You're going to be engaged. The community you serve, once you start building a relationship with your community partners and the residents themselves, and they come to know you and they come to care about you, it's just, it gives you a feeling that you couldn't get in a different industry.
Yeah.
So, give it 6 months, you're not going to want to leave. Trust me.
Right. Yeah, Parks and Rec is kind of like the mafia. Once you get in, they never let you out.
Yeah, right.
I see more people that are like 30 years in this industry. They retire and then they end up right back in after a whole career in it.
That's another problem. That's actually one of the problems of Parks and Rec. People love their jobs too much.
Right.
They don't open up any spots now.
Yeah, they never want to retire.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question for you. This is kind of a tradition we have kind of towards the end of the show. And actually, I forgot to tell you, I'll need you to think of a question that you'd like to leave my next guest. So
great.
This question comes from Jody Dutra in, let's see, Apache Junction Parks and Recreation. She was episode 435. She said, if you had unlimited resources, what would you want to offer in your community and why?
Oh my gosh. That is so funny. So we are currently, when I say we, like the town council. So we are proposing, we have a big, few acre lot. The town currently does not have an aquatics or fitness center.
Oh, here we go.
So you can kind of see what's going. So right now there's so much discussion and back and forth and conversation about, what could be, but of course, what's the cost? What's the price? Man, if you gave me that credit card with unlimited, balance, I'd swipe that thing. I would make it a reality. The residents here, they would deserve it. Beautiful fitness and aquatics facility. So that's what it would be. I know it's a cheap answer, but it's just very relevant to what's going on right now.
Yeah. Now, how have you been as far as on the accounting, financial, fundraising side? I know that's a side Parks and Rec, we don't really talk about a lot, but it's so important. But have you learned anything on that, or gotten to dip your toe into that part of Parks and Recreation?
Yeah, not as much as I'd like to, but hopefully we'll be able to as time goes on. But I've learned so much, kind of back to those council meetings and work sessions, about how the budget process goes and how important revenue recovery is, and what's the CIP and how is it funded, and because those are the things that drive the park upgrades, parking lot, the aquatics and fitness center. So I've got to play just a minor role in that, but my understanding of it has grown so much over the last few years, and so I'm really excited to get more involved. So
yeah. Fantastic. All right. So what question would you like to leave my next guest?
Oh my gosh. So they said, what, but if you had unlimited funds? Okay.
And we've even had some funny ones like, if you could be a piece of playground equipment, what would it be and why? And so it's totally open, whatever you want to throw at them.
All right. So, ask them. So of all of the program offerings that you have at your department, if you could go pro in one of those programs, what would it be?
Okay. So of all the programs, if you could go pro, what would it be? I'm curious of your answer to that question.
Oh gosh, I wish we had a golf program. We got basketball, soccer, all the big sports. Pickleball, couldn't do that one. Disc golf.
Disc golf?
I love disc. If you're ever in Virginia, if you ever make it to Winchester, Virginia, they have one of the most beautiful disc golf courses at Jim Barnett Park. You'll have to check that one out. Nice.
Fantastic. All right. Well, man, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Well, when is y'all's, did y'all already have your annual convention, or is that coming up, or?
It is, we do ours in September.
Okay.
So we have our first event next week for the Northern Service area. So we'll be leading our first business meeting, hoping to have some big engagement and then
Yeah.
leading up to a conference, get everyone super ready to go.
And how many people usually attend y'all's?
For the annual conference,
Yeah.
I think last year, oh gosh, I don't want to mess it up, but I think we had 400,
Oh,
400,
wow.
500.
That's good attendance.
I could be too low, but
Yeah.
it's pretty well attended. So
Yeah. Now, are you going to Philly this year?
won't be
The
going to
annual
Philly
conference?
yet. Got to work my way up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is close. It is close-ish,
Yeah.
and I'd probably hop on the train and just ride it on up. So
That's right. That's right. Well, Derrick, I really appreciate you coming and sharing your story. And just, I like to highlight stories like yours that are still kind of young and getting into it, but aspirationally want to move up and help lead one of these great city departments, Parks and Recreation, and getting to show these college kids what's possible if you just kind of open your mind up a little, volunteer, and then you can be in Derrick's footsteps, following him all the way up to the top.
there you go. Take a risk. But
Yeah, that's it.
Craig, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Have a great day, Derrick.
All right,
Thanks
take
a
care.
lot. Bye. All right. So we got by the way, thank you, Derrick, for coming on the show. And thank you for launching that YPN for Virginia. Got a lot of great stuff that between NRPA and a lot of the state associations are starting to really create a space for young professionals coming in. And Derrick was one of those that has helped a lot with the YPN chapters, especially his local chapter. And a big shout out to Katie Mack for recruiting Derrick, and shout out to her for coming on the show a couple times. She's just a powerhouse in Parks and Recreation. And I think so many great leaders coming up in Parks and Rec through the Young Professionals Network. So if you are not involved in the Young Professionals Network, you definitely need to kind of reach out either to the national YPN through NRPA or your local state chapter. And if you don't have one, start forming one, because you're going to meet some great people like Derrick and Katie and just a lot of great people in Parks and Recreation. All right, so we are packing to go to California. We will be leaving here shortly. We're going to drive from New Orleans all the way to California to attend and co-host the Daily Parks and Rec Show is co-hosting with Push to Play, which is California's kind of podcast. And so we're helping them to produce it. We're going to be doing stuff together separately. And then I'll also be speaking at the brunch to the directors about why telling your story and creating media for this industry is so important to get the message out, so that we can hopefully no longer be the best kept secret of America, but be a very well-known industry that maybe kids will be fighting to get into the Parks and Rec industry. So we'll be attending that. I want to say it's like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. We'll be going live, I think mostly Wednesday, Thursday, and a little bit on Friday. So we'll be doing the regular, just like we did in Illinois, which was just a few weeks ago. We're doing the same thing over there. Really appreciate all the people in California that have been supporting this show and the Daily Parks and Rec Show from the very beginning, and helping us to get tied in with the California Parks and Rec Association, or excuse me, I think it's a society over there. So that's going to be starting. So we won't have our regularly scheduled shows aside from our 1:30 p.m. slot. So all the regular 1:30 shows are going to be going, but this show, the leadership series, in place of that, we're just going to be doing the 15 to 20 minute interviews live from the convention. We'll probably do about 20, 25 shows while we're there, and really get to highlight about how California does Parks and Recreation with their state association, and they've got some tremendous speakers coming in. So hopefully we'll be able to cover that well for y'all and create a great little promo to give back to the world, the industry, and the state of California, that you can get a little glimpse of what it's like to attend one of the great state associations in California. Does a great job. Shout out to Steph Stevens. She's the executive director over there, and they have an outstanding leader. So looking forward to that. And then stay tuned. In another half hour, we are starting the Youth Sports Mastery Show, hosted by Aaron Lux. He is a master when it comes to youth sports. So if you are interested at all in learning about youth sports from some of the greatest youth sports leaders in America, in the world, really, tune in every Thursday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Aaron does a great job running that show, and then just highlighting some of the best coaching staff and athletic directors throughout the country. So stay tuned for that. And we'll see y'all here in a bit. Thank y'all for attending today. And see y'all later. Thanks a lot.
They say it's just rec. Just rec, where kids learn to try again. Just rec, where confidence begins. Where teamwork, effort, and fun matter more than trophies. It's not about perfection. It's about participation. It's not just rec. It's where kids learn to love the game and themselves. It's just rec until they learn teamwork for life. It's just rec, but it's everything to them. It's more than rec. It's a movement. It's just rec until you realize it's shaping the next generation. Together, we're not just running programs, we're building a culture of confidence, connection, and community. Join us.
Are you a vendor, brand, or service provider ready to connect with the heartbeat of local communities? At DPRS Media Co., we tell the stories shaping parks and recreation across America. Through podcasts, live streams, videos, and newsletters, we reach frontline leaders, city directors, and decision makers every single week. From youth sports and facilities to programming and policy, our audience is your audience. Sponsoring or partnering with DPRS Media Co. puts your brand in front of the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. Launching a new product, growing your presence in public spaces, targeting cities, counties, or departments, DPRS is your trusted media partner. Whether you're in software, turf, aquatics, robotics, smart cities, or special events, partnering with DPRS puts your brand in the story. With commercials, interviews, social campaigns, newsletters, and live shows, we're your media team. Partner with us and grow your impact in the $200 billion parks and rec industry. DPRS Media Co. Stories that move parks and rec forward. Your audience is here. Let's meet them.